Life will undoubtedly test you. No matter who you are or where you come from, setbacks, disappointments, and moments where everything feels like it's against you are part of the human experience. This is a certainty. But the real question is, how will you respond? Will you allow life's challenges to break you down, or will you use them to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient? Mentally strong people don't crumble under pressure. They don't allow fear, doubt, or negativity to control their actions. Instead, they forge a mindset that empowers them to face adversity with clarity, confidence, and inner peace. This isn't about pretending that life is easy. It's about mastering yourself so that, no matter what life throws your way, you remain unshaken. The ancient Stoics understood this truth better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men of his time, wrote daily reflections to himself, constantly reminding himself that life is unpredictable, hardships are inevitable, and most importantly, that his response was always within his control. He understood that true strength doesn't come from avoiding difficulties, but from training your mind to rise above them. This is exactly what we're going to explore today. The 6 habits that separate mentally strong people from the rest. These aren't just theoretical ideas. They're proven, battle-tested principles that you can start applying immediately to build an unshakable mindset. So stay with me until the very end, because every single point we're about to discuss is critical. If you skip any of them, you might miss the key to unlocking a more resilient, empowered version of yourself. One thing we can all agree on is that nothing in life stays the same. Seasons change, people come and go, and the world keeps moving, whether we're ready for it or not. Yet, so many resist change, clinging to what feels familiar, as if doing so could prevent the inevitable from happening. Let me ask you this: has holding on to what's familiar ever made life easier? Or has it only made transitions more painful? Change is uncomfortable. It forces us out of our comfort zones, disrupts our routines, and shakes our sense of control. It makes us question where we're headed. But here's the truth: change is not the enemy. The real danger lies in resisting it. The more we fight against reality, the more we suffer. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't waste energy wishing that things were different. Instead, they trained themselves to adapt, seeing every shift in life as an opportunity rather than a threat. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire during war, plague, and betrayal, could have easily spent his days complaining about his circumstances. Instead, he reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very obstacles we fear often contain the path forward. When we learn to work with change, rather than against it, we become stronger and more capable of handling whatever life throws at us. Think about it. When has something unexpected forced you to grow? Maybe it was losing a job, ending a relationship, or relocating to a new city. At first, it felt overwhelming, maybe even painful. But looking back, did those experiences not shape you into who you are today? The problem is, we often only see the wisdom in change after we've survived it. But what if we could shift our mindset while we're going through it? What if, instead of resisting, we asked ourselves, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to my advantage? The Stoics had a saying, amor fati, love your fate. Not just accept it, not just tolerate it, but love it. Love the challenges. Love the unexpected detours. Love the experiences that push you to grow, even when they don't feel comfortable in the moment. Because every change, no matter how difficult, is shaping you into someone stronger. Mentally strong people lean into discomfort. They don't wait for perfect conditions to take action. They don't waste energy wishing things would go back to the way they were. Instead, they adapt. They adjust their sails to the winds of change. So the next time change comes knocking, and it will, pause for a moment. Instead of reacting with fear, ask yourself, how can I use this? Because when you stop resisting change, you start mastering it. And that's the mindset that will carry you through anything. We've all had moments where our emotions got the best of us. Anger led to arguments we later regretted. Fear held us back from seizing opportunities that could have changed our lives. It happens to everyone. Emotions are powerful, and when left unchecked, they can control our actions, decisions, and even the direction of our lives. But here's the truth: mentally strong people don't let their emotions control them. They control their emotions. This doesn't mean suppressing what you feel. Stoicism isn't about becoming an emotionless robot. It's about mastering your reactions. The Stoics understood that emotions in themselves aren't the problem. It's how we respond to them that determines whether they serve us or destroy us. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly: You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about the last time someone said something that irritated you, a rude comment, an unfair criticism, or maybe someone cutting you off in traffic. What was your first instinct? To react immediately? To lash out? Most people do. But what if instead you paused for just a second and asked yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? That small pause, that moment of awareness, is the difference between being ruled by your emotions and mastering them. Seneca, another great Stoic, advised that when anger rises, don't act on it right away. Give it time to settle. In the heat of the moment, we often make choices we later regret. Think about it. How many times have we said or done something in an emotional state, only to look back and wish we had handled it differently? Emotions are like the weather, unpredictable, constantly changing, and often beyond our control. But just like a sailor doesn't try to control the wind, we shouldn't try to suppress our emotions. Instead, we learn to navigate them. A skilled sailor adjusts their sails, knowing the storm will pass. Similarly, mentally strong people acknowledge their emotions, but refuse to let them steer the ship. Does this mean we should ignore how we feel? Absolutely not. The Stoics weren't about denying emotions, but understanding them. When fear shows up, ask, what is this fear trying to tell me? When sadness appears, ask, what lesson is hidden here? Emotions can be teachers if we learn to listen without letting them take over. And here's where it gets truly powerful. Once you realize that you decide how to respond, nothing can shake you. Insults lose their sting. Failures become stepping stones. Unexpected events no longer throw you off balance. Why? Because you understand that your power lies in your response. Your reaction to the world around you is far more important than the events themselves. Think about it. Life will throw challenges your way, but it's your ability to control how you react that determines your success and happiness. The next time you feel frustration, fear, or anger bubbling up inside you, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath, step back, and remember this: you are in control. Your emotions do not define you. It's your actions, how you choose to respond, that truly shape who you are. The more you can master your emotions, the more resilient you become in every area of life. Emotional strength isn't just about pushing through. It's about owning your emotions and using them as a catalyst for growth. Your time and energy are your most valuable assets, but they are also the easiest to lose. Every day, you're pulled in countless directions: work demands, friends needing favors, family asking for support, and the constant distractions of social media. Before you know it, you're drained, stretched too thin, and left with little energy for yourself. But here's the secret: mentally strong people don't let the world dictate where their energy goes. They set boundaries and protect their mental space as though their very life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. They recognized that our most precious asset isn't money or possessions, but our inner peace. Yet, so many of us give that peace away without even thinking twice. Seneca warned against this when he said that while people are frugal in guarding their material possessions, they often squander their most precious resource, time. Imagine for a moment, if someone tried to take your money, you'd fight back. But when people take your time, your irreplaceable, limited resource, you often give it away without hesitation. Why? Maybe it's guilt, fear of disappointing others, or the habit of always putting others first. But here's the truth: saying yes to everyone else means saying no to yourself. And mentally strong people don't do that. They understand that without clear boundaries, they'll never have the space to focus on what truly matters, whether that's their goals, their health, or their peace of mind. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary. Saying no to something that drains you doesn't mean you don't care. It means you value yourself enough to protect your well-being. You wouldn't let someone walk into your home and trash it, so why allow people to invade your mental space with negativity or constant demands? One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they push people away. But in reality, the right people will respect your boundaries. Those who don't, they were never meant to have access to your energy in the first place. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. The people and energy you allow into your life shape who you become. If you constantly surround yourself with stress, drama, and obligations that don't serve you, it's no wonder you feel drained or lost. So, how do you start setting boundaries? First, get clear on what matters most to you. What are your priorities? What fuels your energy instead of depleting it? Once you know that, It becomes easier to say no to anything that doesn't align with your values. Next, practice saying no without feeling the need to explain yourself. You don't owe anyone a long justification for protecting your time. A simple, "I can't commit to that right now," is enough. Most importantly, don't feel guilty. Protecting your energy is an act of self-respect, not selfishness. If you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will. When you stop saying yes to every demand and start saying yes to yourself, you'll notice something incredible. You'll feel lighter, more focused, and truly in control of your life. This is the foundation of true mental strength. Life may not always go as planned. You'll face setbacks, make mistakes, and encounter situations that feel unfair. It's easy to blame circumstances, point fingers, or tell yourself you're just unlucky. But mentally strong people don't waste time making excuses. They take full responsibility for their actions, their choices, and ultimately their lives. The Stoics believe that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can always control how we respond to it. That's real strength, owning your decisions, learning from your mistakes, and refusing to see yourself as a victim of life's circumstances. Think of the most resilient, successful people you know. Do they sit around complaining about how unfair life is? Or do they take action, adapt, and keep moving forward? The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck isn't intelligence, talent, or luck, it's responsibility. When you own your actions, you take back your power. When you blame others, you give that power away. Taking responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up over mistakes. It's not about dwelling in guilt. It's about learning and improving. Every failure is an opportunity for self-reflection, just as Seneca advised. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? That's how you grow, not by avoiding mistakes, but by using them as stepping stones to progress. So the next time life throws an obstacle your way, pause. Ask yourself, is making an excuse helping me or holding me back? Remember, at the end of the day, no one else is responsible for your success, happiness, or growth. That's on you. And once you fully embrace that truth, you'll become unstoppable. The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius resonates through time, especially when we consider his reflections and meditations. He reminded himself each morning that it was a privilege to be alive, to think, to feel, to love. Imagine how different life would feel if we began each day with that perspective. It's a powerful shift, one that transforms our approach to life. Instead of focusing on past mistakes or missed opportunities, the Stoics encouraged a fresh start every morning, an opportunity for growth, self-acceptance, and renewed purpose. Now think about how you would comfort a close friend who made a mistake. You'd remind them that they are human, encourage them to learn from it, and to move forward. So why don't we offer ourselves the same kindness? Why do we hold ourselves to unattainably high standards, expecting perfection from ourselves while accepting imperfections in others? Self-compassion is not about making excuses. It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a good friend. The truth is, you will make mistakes. You will have days when nothing seems to go right. That's simply life. But beating yourself up over it doesn't help you grow. It only makes you hesitant, fearful, and doubtful of your own abilities. The Stoics believe the mind is like a garden. What you plant is what grows. If you constantly feed it with negative thoughts, don't be surprised when self-doubt takes root. But if you practice self-compassion, you create an environment where resilience, confidence, and self-respect can flourish. So, how do you start? First, pay attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, stop and ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, why say it to yourself? Second, learn from your mistakes instead of dwelling on them. As Seneca wisely said, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Every challenge, every failure, is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. Finally, remember that growth takes time. You don't become wise overnight, and resilience doesn't develop in a day. Progress is slow, but as long as you're moving forward, you're on the right path. The next time you're tempted to criticize yourself, try reframing it. Instead of saying, I should have done better, say, I'm learning and improving. Instead of I always mess up, try, this is a setback, not a defeat. That small shift in language can make a world of difference. At the end of the day, the strongest people aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who fall, get up, and keep moving forward without tearing themselves down in the process. That's the real power of self-compassion. There is no finish line when it comes to growth. The moment you think you know everything, the moment you believe you've reached your peak, that's when you begin to decline. Life is always moving, always changing, and those who refuse to adapt, learn, and evolve will find themselves stuck, watching as the world passes them by. But those who embrace lifelong learning understand something crucial. Growth is a lifelong process. There is no final destination. You keep learning, improving, and refining yourself until your last breath. Even Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, never saw himself as above learning. Every day he read, wrote, and reflected, constantly reminding himself of his own limitations and the vastness of what he didn't know. He once wrote, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, challenges, failures, and setbacks are all opportunities for growth, if we're willing to learn from them. Many people think that learning stops after school or once they've reached a certain level of success. But the truth is, your ability to keep growing determines how far you go in life. The moment you stop challenging yourself, stop seeking new knowledge, and stop stepping outside your comfort zone, that's when stagnation sets in. And for a strong mind, stagnation is worse than failure. At least failure teaches you something. So how do you make lifelong learning a habit? First, develop intellectual humility. No matter how much you know, there's always more to learn. Seneca believed that wisdom isn't in knowing all the answers, but in seeking them relentlessly. Second, embrace failure as part of the learning process. If you're afraid of making mistakes, you'll never grow. Every failure is an opportunity to gain invaluable wisdom, but only if you choose to see it as a lesson, not a defeat. Third, challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone regularly. Growth happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, when you don't have all the answers. The Stoics believe that we should seek difficult things, not for the suffering itself, but because growth lies within those challenges. Lastly, never let ego stop you from evolving. One of the biggest barriers to learning is thinking you already know enough. The wisest people are always learning, asking questions, and listening more than they speak. They remain open to new perspectives, even if it challenges their existing beliefs. At the end of the day, life rewards those who are willing to adapt. The world changes, industries evolve, and people grow. If you refuse to evolve with it, you'll get left behind. But if you commit to lifelong learning, to challenging yourself, to staying curious and open, you'll never stop growing. And that's what keeps you strong. Remember, life isn't about avoiding hardship, it's about becoming strong enough to face anything. The habits we've discussed today are more than ideas. They're tools that can help you navigate challenges, master your emotions, and build a mindset that nothing can break. But knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to apply it every single day. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, am I embracing change or resisting it? Am I in control of my emotions or letting them control me? Am I protecting my time, taking responsibility, practicing self-compassion, and continuing to learn? Because this daily practice is what separates those who live with strength from those who crumble under life's weight. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep refining yourself. That's the path to true strength.